Welcome to the game of Risk, everyone. I am your host, OliveXC. I'm a top Grandmaster with over 1,000 hours of experience in this game. Today, we are doing Tutor Tuesday, where I review a subscriber's game and analyze them to help them and you get better at Risk. Today, we are analyzing games sent by one of my subscribers named Magic Carrot, the blue player in the 6th position here. What makes this game very interesting, as I'm going to start playing through the video here, and I'll be speeding forward because it's about an hour long, is that it is true random. Yes, true random. I had a video on that a couple of days ago where I lost my mind playing true random. But I thought this would be a great opportunity for the audience to share this type of video with you because there are some strategic elements and opportunities within the game. And it's important to share this information with all of you so that you're able to understand how, if you decide to play true random, some techniques and tips that you can keep in mind. One thing to note as this game is going on, you're going to notice the resolution is not the best. Unfortunately, Magic Carrot does not have the best computer settings available. But what matters is the love of the game. So that's what's important right here. So we can see on the first turn, the black player appears to be consolidating their troops within the North America region. And the green player looks like they're slowly trying to group their troops together, probably within Europe, but we have to see what happens. Now, what makes true random interesting right here is, by definition, it's true random. And you have to be a lot more careful when making attacks, because while in Balanced Blitz, there's a set limit as to when you make an attack. In true random, and I'm going to have this calculated out often, you can lose a lot more often. You notice in Balanced Blitz, the odds are normally 89%. Here it's 75%. And in true random, anything can happen at any time. During the early phases of the game, I try to prioritize only hitting a 1 of another player unless you absolutely have to. Because if you hit a 2 or a 3, well, most of the time you're only going to lose 1 or 2 troops. You have the potential, if you get an unlucky roll, of losing 5, 6, 7, or even more troops. It's very, very dangerous to be doing that. And you can see these initial rolls taken by the players here. I'm just speeding through a tiny bit. Not a lot is really going on in the beginning. It's all kind of about being very cautious with your attacks. Because you see right here, your very first attack, you're attacking a 2. You get very, very lucky on the initial roll. I probably would have done a 5v1 up top or maybe a 6v1. Because again, you have to be so cautious with true random games as they occur. Even something like a 5v1, which in Balanced Blitz is 100%. If I do the same thing here, true random, 97%. That has a chance of failing. You have to be very, very cautious. But otherwise, as this game is kind of developing at this time, within the early game right here, we can see a lot of the players just continuing to consolidate their positions. I don't like that green was moving out of Europe, because they clearly had a very strong position. Right there, I would have probably put more troops into it to try to consolidate and take over the position, where they were just kind of lacking in overall strategy. But this kind of gives an opportunity for protagonist, Magic Carrot, the blue player, to now be going into the Europe continent. And we'll see as this game develops if they are going to be able to go for it. Just continuing on 30 seconds here. There's quick attacks by the players. They're not taking any kind of significant risks as they're attacking, trying to only generally attack 1 and get the most value out of the troops as they can be. Now, when a lot of people play true random type games, they automatically kind of think that there's a lot less skill than associated in balanced blitz, and that couldn't be further from the truth. There is a lot of skill associated with these balanced blitz, true random type games. It's just in a different type of way. There's more risk associated with your attacks and the moves that you make, and you have to be very careful about when you do it. You're going to lose troops more often. So sometimes when attacking with an equal number of troops, the odds of failure are higher, and you have to balance between when you want to make an attack versus when you want to hold your troops and wait for the right opportunity. Our protagonist, who by the way is an expert, like a ranked player to a master, low master, one of his comments that he's made is that he's always kind of struggled a little bit of closing out games. He can get second a lot, but he struggles with getting first. So as I look into the initial aspects of the game right here, one thing I would be thinking a lot about is the early alliances that you're making within the game with the other players. One thing I want to consider when it's in a 6-player situation is who do you want to make alliances with, either officially through if the alliances are on, or unofficially if alliances are off. In this case, alliances are on. In this case, you're now just making your first alliance with somebody. I would be immediately at the beginning of a game of true random or balanced blitz of looking at which players I think I want to work with and which players I think I would want to make my enemy and who I'd want to fight with. In this case here, I think it's important to make an alliance with Red. It's clear that they're going to be going for Africa. And if they're going to be going for a very, very strong continent early on, you want them to be a friend with you, because if you're going to be going for Europe, you want to be more passive and control your troops. So making an alliance with Purple is okay. They're building up their troops and they're slowly looking to take over the Australia continent, because they have an 11 over in eastern Australia region. But it's not required to make an alliance with the Australia player. In most games, unless the Australia player is a very high-level person, most people try to be very passive, hold the continent, and just wait for everyone else to defeat each other. Another alliance which I think could be very important for you to make with, besides the red player, would be the the black player, because they're clearly trying to make a move to go for the North America continent. And North America, kind of like Europe, are the strong continents, and those players generally want to make strong alliances with the players. So the fact that you really aren't considering the alliance aspect of the game is an important thing to keep in mind. Now, I like how you're taking just one troop right here. You're waiting to consolidate and hold on to the Europe position right here. You don't have a set on 3, but that's very common to not be having a set on 3. The odds of a set on 3 are going to be about 42%. Generally, it's around 33% or so. But given that the wild cards are a thing, you can generate that within your first couple of turns. Having a set on 3 is more common. Now, 10 set could be a little less which is what everyone likes to hold out for. But given that you have a strong number of troops at 24, and most of them are consolidated within the Europe region, it's very unlikely that someone would want to take you out for your cards. Now here, at this point, I would really consider making an alliance with the black player. And I see you have your mouse pointer on them. You requested it, but they haven't accepted it. But they're purposefully not leaving their border an aggressive army towards you. And if you notice, they're doing a very strong technique. And pay attention to this, a lot of the new players watching, where instead of placing their armies at their borders in 3 areas to attack, they're leaving their army in 2 locations. A main army in either western United States or eastern United States, and then 1 army in the Ontario region. This is important because if a player were to attack them, they would immediately have a counterattack army available to hit them back. So if it's the ultimate way to balance being like a passive versus being aggressive. The only mistake I think the black player made is they did not do the 5v1 in the Siam region to go in towards like a Indonesia area. And this is because the purple player is clearly going to probably be hitting it the next turn as the game is developing right here. See, look, they're placing all their troops there. They have around a 14v5. But just to show you a 14v5, because again, remember, this is true random. While I'm talking about high-level aspects of the game, a 14v5 is still 98%. There is a chance that you can lose significant numbers of troops when attacking with true random, so there is risk that has to be balanced. However, this is a pretty good risk-reward profile, and I think it is worth it going for the attack there soon at this point. Probably, I think, waiting for the set's the best way, because you don't know players are going to potentially suicide into you if you take over the Australia region. Now, at this point, if I was white, I would be immediately, trying to take over Australia. Now, the red player is laughing, but I don't think it's worth it for them to hit the white player, and this could be an opportunity for them to, I think, generate extra troops. Yeah, he did leave 10. If I was white, I would try to make an alliance. Yeah. Now, if you notice as well, by the way, and there's these phase animations going on of deploy, attack, fortify. So one thing that you can do, and I have a game up right here because I'll be sharing some tips throughout the video about true random and making attacks. And by the way, you'll notice that I have 69 troops right here. There is no reason for me to leave this with 69 other than the fact that it's a nice number. But now, in all seriousness, if I were to go to settings right here and look at my work here, you'll notice that I did camera animations off, so that way I can attack faster. But you can also turn phase change animation off, as well as turn info notification. That's going to allow you to move faster between the phase changes. So if you're doing a very complicated turn, you need every second that you can. And this just gives you a little bit of an extra edge. So I highly recommend leaving all of these off right here. Going back to the game right here, we can see now at this point, you're making another attack. But our protagonist is deciding to hold. I like this decision a lot. Because again, Europe is all about making the alliances with other players. And you also notice he's doing a 2 border strategy, keeping things upwards right here. Yeah. So that's very good because he knows that, again, attacking into Iceland is the weakness of Europe. By having a light guard there, you're allowing yourself to not lose a lot of troops, but it's harder for players to hit you. Now, the green player, because again, they kind of just threw their whole game away. They turned in the set, put everything in North America just to hurt the black player. Even though other players are about to get sets in their continents, they had to play towards Europe, and they just messed up their entire game right here. No other way around it. It was a bad move. And they just don't know what to do now at this point. So now at this point, the thing about how to fortify, so now they're going here and towards you. So we'll see what happens here. At this point, if I was a red player, I would, hopefully if I had it set, I would be turning in and taking over the Africa region. Here they just left their troops in Congo. Yeah, and again, there's no point right here to do anything else except take over the region. The fact that they're not is a significant mistake on their end. It's only going after a 2, and it's clear that they can hold the continent now. They're just losing the opportunities to get additional troops. Now the purple player is playing this very, very nicely. At this point, they have a very, very strong guard to be able to take over Australia. I like this a lot. And then also the black player is protecting them a tiny bit. and the green player is nowhere nearby them. All the other remaining players are clearly about to get their own continents, and I think the purple players played like their initial position almost flawlessly. You can see right there, losing 2, attacking like a 1. Those are relatively more common, and now we can just see the black player is in like a tough position. They're getting attacked like kind of everywhere, and the green player really like hurt their game. If I were them, I would probably just try to take one card like a per turn and just try like to turtle a bit like in Asia. Now, at this point, you now should be going for the Europe region. The fact that you don't, I think, is a mistake right here. If the players choose not to attack you, like, or choose to attack you, like that's fine. But you're gonna know where they stand and what you can or can't do. One thing to keep like in mind right here, as we're seeing our protagonist, Magic Carrot, goes that he's seeing a lot of aggression. The green player attacked the black player before, and now the white player was attacking the black player. He may have wanted to hold his troops, hoping other players would continue attacking each other. And it may be the same thing that red is keeping in mind like as well. This is a game that's not very passive. It's a game that's very active, and people are trying to break each other's bonuses as much as they can. So because of this dynamic play that's going on, waiting to hold like a little bit can make sense if played appropriately. But eventually you will need to get the bonus in order to fortify your overall advantage. And with now the green player has moved away, I'm thinking the next turn will be that opportunity for you. Yeah, now the red player as well, I think, should be taking over the continent. It's just too passive play for them. They could have easily had left a lot of troops like on Egypt on their first turn, taken and hit Madagascar, and then just left like a 4 troop on like North Africa, the same as like the white player. Or if I were them, I'd try to make an alliance with them, so that way white can focus on just hitting black instead. Again, alliances are critical. The fact that you don't really have a lot of these alliances in game is again kind of tough for you because you just don't know what other players are doing. I would be trying to make alliances with as many people as possible and trying to be as passive as possible. In games when people are being very active right now, from what I am seeing, I think it's important for you to be more passive. You want to kind of go more against the flow. If people aren't really attacking, you want to be the one kind of making moves, dictating the pace. If other people are attacking, you want to instead try to secure your continent and gain a lead in troops and have other people make mistakes so you can swoop in for big attacks when it's worth it. So at this time, you should be going for the continent right here. Yep. So now you're going for the attack right here, which is good. You finally secured the continent for yourself. And the normal play is to kind of leave your troops in Northern Europe, right here. Here you're kind of just leaving out a guard off to the side because you don't want the green player hitting you. But as well is that you're leaving yourself just a purposeful 1 guard right here. And what is nice is that if somebody were to attack you, it's not the end of the world. You're just going to lose a 1 troop. And then you're going to know who your friend is and who your enemy is. Again, the lack of alliances, I think, is a critical thing right here. The last thing I think to keep in mind for this is the importance, and I think this is more of a true random thing. And as advice, leaving a 2 instead of a 1. By the way, that's true random for you right there. First 4v1 failed. A 4v1, 92%. So you're going to see those failures. A 5v1 is 97%. Really, to guarantee the safest odds possible when attacking in true random, ideally you want to make it a 6v1, as you can see from these odds right here. So now you can see like the green player has just failed to make a strategy all game for themselves. They are just in an awful position. They're now kind of rolling the black player down. So they're originally doing, yeah, like they just completely messed up their game. So as they're rolling the black player down, we can see that it was about a 20v26. It's actually not that crazy odds. It's a power of attacking. But you can see as they're continuing to roll it down right here, I'll just speed up a tiny bit through this part. They actually managed to win the battle. But a fun fact about true random right here is if I were to like attack, and I'll make this no longer 69. Boo. You notice if I were to make this one dice right here with my slider, it's still just 42%. It's basically the same thing, right? A lot of times when people use manual dice, it's because the odds are below 50% and they want to increase their odds. But this is true random. Whether I attack this right here or I choose to like slow roll the dice, the odds are the same for me. So unless you're trying to specifically save a certain number of troops, you can just blitz it right away. Another option, for example, is if I were to like make an attack on another player. So I'll just make the attack here. You can see right here, it doesn't. I'm not even fixing my slider at all right here, and because again, normally you want to make your slider as low as possible, but you can see right here making a 4v, like a 4v65. I can potentially lose all of my troops. It's better just make it your slider as large as possible in true random. You can see I'm just losing more troops when attacking. One thing besides what the green player doing besides attacking the black player, so instead of just making the attack like right there and just throwing all their troops away, another option besides just manual rolling is I can just use my slider right here and I can just use the minimum number of troops I want to attack with, and then I'm willing to lose. And it's the same thing as slow rolling it, because again, in true random, it doesn't matter whether you're blitzing right away or slow rolling dice, the same outcome occurs. So this is a very strategic way that you can use your slider when attacking. So I just hit this right here and then move on. And while I'm on this, when looking at the slider, another little technique I like to use when using true random games. Lost a 4 right there. So you see I'm with like a 6 right here. So the 6 is very, very likely for me to be successful. One thing that I like to do is sometimes I actually like to take away like one troop. So instead of using all of them, I use a little bit less. This is because when I'm telling the system is I want them to attack with one less troop at once. So instead of me attacking with all of my troops, so because when you have 6 troops, you can use up to 3 dice. But if I lose 2 troops, so in this case, if I go down to 4 troops left, I can still use 3 dice. But if I go down to 2 troops, I can only use 2 dice. If I go down to only having 1 troop, I can only use 1 dice. Right? And then the odds are very, very unlikely for me to be successful. By making your slider a little bit lower right here, you're basically telling the system, don't roll the dice if I get down to 2. And then that way you can make an attack somewhere else and just save your troops a little bit more. So these are just little ways that you can kind of help yourself as you're kind of going through this right here. So I'll go back to the game now that I've kind of talked about these some of these true random techniques and what to do, and pray for the 69 that we sacrificed in great detail for these techniques. So now the game gets a pretty interesting here. You get broken because again you never really was able to make an alliance with the red player, and it wasn't bad for them to break you because clearly at this point there wasn't much that could be done for you to retaliate besides you trying to kill them, which doesn't really make sense. You've been a very, very rational player so far. The other option was, were they looking to try to kill the green player? And here, given that the 8 was in the way, they would be sacrificing probably at least 8 troops, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 troops. Given that the green player only has 3 cards available, each card is worth about 2 troops. So they would get 6 troops attacking 16. So it's just actually not worth it for them to be attacking. And now you're trying to make like more alliances at this time. Again, I would be trying to do this like earlier. Trying to make as many alliances as you can with the players that you're with. So now we can see at this time, now you're trying to defend Europe harder at this point. And now you're breaking them, but I don't think that was a very, very smart move. Because, well, what are you trying to do? You're just opening up their 34 to potentially hit you. And you're basically saying, oh yeah, you want to come attack me? You want to attack me? I'll show you what's up. I'm Magic Carrot. I'm the protagonist. No. I don't really like that move very much. You want to keep the 34 kind of like stuck right here. East Africa is a standard location in which you want to try to keep your troops available. So I'll just speed this up right here because clearly the black player is about to die. And they're clearly like about to bot out. So they just get a card and like kind of pass. So now they're at 5 cards and 12 troops. So it's starting to get really worth it to take them out. Green player as well. Very, very close like to dying. They could try to get like another card. And now it's someone can take out the green player and the black player at once. Now this is kind of critical right here. The red player is going for the kill on them. So they have to they attack the purple 8. And look, you see that right there? That is the risk of using true random right here. Let's look at that again. They lose 6 attacking a 1. So losing a 6 on a 1 right there. About a 1% chance. It's not impossible, but it is unlikely. So in a game where you're going to have 100 attacks, you're going to have that happen once per time, and you have to take those risks accordingly. So now you can see the black player is continuing to make these attacks here and attacking like the players. So he was at 46 troops as the attack began, and now he's continuing to make the attacks. And this is showing that red is a higher level player for sure, and someone to be taken very, very seriously. Yeah, they're doing pretty good pathing, attacking relatively fast. Yeah, again, now they lost like another like 4 troops attacking. They kind of messed up with like not ending off on Greenland in case they wanted to like hit you instead, because they went back that way. But their pathing was good enough in order to end off in a pretty good location. They now got like a 10 set by taking out the black player, and then now they're taking out the green player. So they got 9 cards in total. The value of that is 18 troops, and they basically ended up losing a net 2 troops in that attack, with another set to be traded in afterwards with the original cards that they have. So overall, I would say this is a very successful attack by the red player. And now finally, they choose to attack you because they're truly just trying to make like an enemy out of you, like at this time. Yeah, so it's a little bit like tough, and so it looks like you kind of have to pivot a little bit at this point to kind of figure out like what you want to do, because again, players really aren't making attacks. So I like that you're trying to work with the purple player at this time to try to get like something going. So yeah, so it looks like people are just attacking a little bit and overall being kind of passive. You now trade in your set, and let's see what you decide to do with it. And it looks like you just are attacking the red player a little bit, getting their territory count down. Now, one thing you could have tried to do is take like Africa, but again, you could potentially have lost a lot of troops. So, and you don't know how the red player would have acted like against you. So, waiting a little bit before this attack, like again, I think like makes sense as well. Now, the red player is in a dominating spot right now. There's a lot that they can do. The attacks that you made towards them like were fair, and you're not holding a continent right now. So I think you did a good job kind of balancing the situation right here, and it's going to be key on seeing how the players react. Overall, I would say as we're heading like about to the halfway point of this game, you've been pretty successful of managing like the situation. So I'm just speeding up a little bit right here because again like this player's making a couple of attacks, moving forward, being cautious. You played a very good game so far. You haven't really taken like a significant risks. You've kind of consolidated your troops. You're in a weaker position, but not in any chance where people are going to be eliminating you for their cards. So there's a lot of opportunities that are available for you here. Yeah, so purple now is slowly kind of consolidating. 4v1 fails. You gotta be careful about those 4v1s. Again, I can't stress this enough in true random. You want to make the minimum number of attacks possible, and in general, try to only attack with a 6v1, because you can lose a lot of troops on any individual territory that you are taking over. And you can see right now, like even though there's been a lot of attacks happening, like troop counts generally stay a little bit lower because troop counts continue to kind of decrease over time. Now, we can see right here the white player is making a very aggressive move at this point where they are trying to take over potentially the North America region as well. So this is a critical moment for the game. They're choosing not to. But as the game develops, you're just taking over Africa. And finally, but now we're kind of seeing a mistake right here. You're leaving your troops in Madagascar. There is no reason for you to be doing that. The players can attack you anywhere at this time and be threatening like towards you, and it's going to take you a turn to retaliate. You always want to try to leave your army available like to attack. I would have left the standard place to leave your troops in Africa is in the East Africa region, as that gives you the opportunity to be in a more passive position. But if any of your other territories were broken, you can retaliate against them. The South American player won't care, because as long as you don't put in North Africa, they won't feel threatened by you. They're also in a natural conflict with the red player. The purple player won't attack you. They're the Australian turtle. As long as you're not owning multiple continents at once, they're going to be like fine. And the red player is making one enemy now, the white player, who's trying to take over the North America region and have a significant lead in the game. So leaving the troops within East Africa, I think, is the best thing you could have done at this time. Leaving your troops in Madagascar, I think, is a pretty significant like a mistake. But thankfully, you weren't punished for it. So you go through your turn, you make an attack, you leave an army here, and then you leave your troops in Congo. But again, that is a mistake, because again, now someone could just break you in Egypt, and there's no way that you can retaliate against it. The other thing is when you were leaving your troops right here in the Ukraine region, you're feinting potentially taking over like Europe as well. And there is a risk right here that the red player might choose to then attack you. We're now, yeah, so let's see what happens here. Okay, so now the blue player is making a significant move right here, taking over Asia. They lost a significant number of troops doing that. They lost 8 on the 3. Again, checking that. Always, I love this calculator. So a 9v3 wins 95% of the time. So 5% of the time, you just lose those amount of troops or more. Woo, I'm talking up a storm right now. I just love educating you guys about Risk. A key theme I'm trying to highlight here within these true random games is you have to be more careful about what you do when you're attacking. And when you have like a really bad luck, you're just getting a 5% like negative roll. Those things can and will happen. We're now getting to a significant moment of the game where you decide to attack the purple player. This, I think, is one of the biggest mistakes that you made in this game right here. And this is because, and I asked you this in chat, and just reading your specific message right here, is because you didn't think red was going to be breaking the purple player, because when you broke other people before, people were hitting him back, which is making him be a weaker player. Also, red had a chance to take Asia before, and you didn't think you can rely on him. And then basically you only had to hit a 5. But here's the thing. The purple was like your closest alliance and friend. And at any time, they can now start hitting you instead. They could... the white player is clearly making moves on the red player, so they can be getting a lot stronger. And there was actually a much better move for you, I think. You could have taken over Europe yourself. And if you could just message red and said, hey, attack red, do a thumbs up, see if that's okay. Or and then see if the purple player was alright with it. And then fortify the vast majority of your troops in the Iceland region area. Letting the red and the white players know, hey, don't attack me. Then the red player would have to suicide into you to break you. And maybe what they decide to do is they attack all the way through white into purple, hit purple a lot, and then break you. Well, that would be amazing if that was the case. And maybe white or someone else does choose to break you instead. But clearly when purple is your only friend, like right here, it's not a good idea to be breaking that. They took the alliance seriously, and when you're working with weaker players, breaking the alliance is a critical, very dangerous thing to do. So we can see right here, the red player isn't doing a lot, because why would they want to attack the purple player? They clearly recognized that it just wasn't worth it for them. And now look, the purple player has a huge set. They're going to attack you. And look at that. They lost only 4 troops right there. That is incredible. That's again, doing a 7v16 or so. But that's about 3%. That's actually not crazy to be winning a roll like that. A lot of people use rolls and think the game's rigged. No, this is just a standard luck right there. This is all math. Always keep that in mind with true random. There's very unlucky and very lucky rolls. So you can see, because you kind of broke the purple player in the prior turn, you're now in a very weak position. You can't really break them anymore, and now you're the weakest player on the board. I really think the best move for you here was to take over Europe and own 2 continents at once, and leave it towards the other players to have to do something. At least then, if they choose to let the purple player win, then that's the case. They let the purple player win. But you're now the weakest player on this board, and you really can't do anything to stop them. And now you have a significant enemy. And as we kind of get into like the 3-player endgame scenario, finding ways to be, you want to see who you want to take to the end game. And now, like, you can't take purple to the end game. They hate you. You just broke them really, really hard. Why would they want to work with you in the end game when you're hitting them this hard right here? So now look, you break them, hit them. You lost like a lot of troops. Like, you're down to 50 troops, and now you're opening up their 28 to hit you back hard. They can just retaliate and hit you very easily. They can break you in Europe and attack Egypt, and what can they do? They can't do anything right there. You are making a lot of these very kind of attacks all over the place, attacking the strongest player, and yeah, you're weakening them, but to the point of almost crippling your own game, like at this point. Understanding the human emotions and how players will react to aggression is kind of like critical right here. Because one of your comments when I was like asking about like the constant attacks that you were making towards other players is that you're hoping that if you attack someone, it's going to encourage the rest of the board to attack. Well, the thing to keep in mind is that this is not standard human behavior. When I see other players attack each other, I'm not thinking, oh, that player is attacking someone, I want to attack them as well. Unless I have a de facto very strong alliance with the player, I actually tend to be more passive because I want to see how the other player reacts. If I were to attack them as well, why would I want to do that? I'd just be hurting my own chances and my ability to win. I should let the other player suffer the consequences themselves instead. So, because of that, the idea that if you attack a player, someone else is going to, that just doesn't happen. Players are going to be passive instead and just let other players kill themselves. Well, a lot of players at the lower levels just like to just group everything in one army, take their continent, wait for other players to just kill everyone. Because they don't have the high level mechanics like necessary to affect player dynamics in order to win the overall game. So we can see right here as you're speeding through the game like a tiny bit, players are just attacking, their people are breaking you. There's not much that you can do because you're the weakest player now. As the weakest player, you can really only take something like 1 card per turn and pass. If you do anything else, you can just die at this time. So you're just taking a card, you're moving away. You can't hold this region. There's no way that you can hold it. Look at what the red player has done by being very, very passive instead of letting you take on the aggression. They're now in a very strong state where they can now hang out in Asia. They never even had a continent, but they have almost the most troops right now. This is very, very strong play by the red players. I would put them at a very high ranking. They know when to be aggressive and they know when to be passive. So we can see again attacks occurring like right here, people fortifying, and let's go back a little bit right here. You decided to take over Europe. You then immediately after attacking Europe go all the way down, break the white player, and then leave your troops there. You're the weakest player. You have 59 troops. You attack the strongest player. White was being passive this whole game. You decided to attack them. And you're thinking of this is, when looking at your notes, is because you want the other players to attack white to advance like the game. It's like, no, you're just going to have white attack you back. Why would red attack? Why would purple attack? Well, what's purple going to do? Is purple going to put their thing on their 6, hit your 1, and then just slam into the white player's big stack, hoping for ultimate retaliation? Well, what's the red player going to do? Their main stack is by purple. Are they going to just suicide into the white player? The most they'll do is just attack like a 1 troop or 1 territory. That's not going to do anything. No, the only thing that's going to happen is the white player is going to hit you. You'll be unable to hold a continent. And now, in a 3-player endgame scenario, the purple player hates you. You broke them a lot all game. The white player hates you. They've been very passive, and you've just been hitting them all game. The red player, you're mostly like okay with right now, but they haven't made enemies of either the white or the purple player. They can naturally make strong relations with them. As we head into the 3-player endgame scenario, who's going to want to be your friend? They're going to want to suicide into you because of the decisions that you made and the aggressive moves that you've made towards them. To make it to the end and to win, you need to pick your alliances and your friends very closely. You haven't made friends this game, you've only made enemies. So as this game continues right here, you're just attacking a little bit at this time. Again, there's not much that you can do at this point because you're very weak. Yeah, a lot of people are just playing passively attacking. You can't do anything right now. So just going to speed through a tiny bit at this point in the game because this is where things get a little kind of quiet here at this time. I'll make sure to get to the next a key out point of this game. You train your set. At this point, the player stacks are getting pretty even at this point. You're attacking a little bit again, a little risky, but not the end of the world. Players are just kind of holding their troops. The white and purple players are very strong with their overall continents. You can't hold a continent because the purple player and the white player just don't like you. Yeah, you are opening up the purple player stack to try to encourage some type of attacking, but it doesn't really do much at this time. And again, you're making a lot of kind of needless attacks here. But again, this isn't really making or breaking the game at all in any type of capacity. You're just trying to do things at this time. But the players are passing, and they're just waiting for the next move to occur. But now we can see the white player at this time is just kind of attacking a lot of territory and expanding their overall advantage at this point because they have the most troops. And now the question is what should you do? Well, the answer is you don't do anything. You don't do anything right here. You are so weak right now. Look, you have 70 troops. If you attack the strongest player, you're just going to die. The one thing I could recommend is you could potentially attack into Alaska and then move away. Kamchatka, and open up the Reds 98 if they choose to want to attack the white player from the back. But you can't do anything. You're just going to die if you do anything at this time because you made too many aggressive moves in the past. If you are the weakest player, you should be letting the stronger players make the moves right here. So now you're trying to take and hold North America. I don't know how successful that's going to be because the white player does not trust you at all. Yeah, because look, the red player just took a card and passed. The purple player on their move, let's see what they do. Because they're debating what to attack. Yeah, they're just taking a card and passing. Now they're leaving their troops kind of stuck in Australia in the most passive way possible. But now look. Let's see what the white player does in this situation as we're getting closer and closer to the climax of this game right here. Yeah, this is a critical moment. What does the white player do? Yeah, it looks like they just take a card right here. They're trying to maintain the alliance with you while still leaving a guard because they don't fully trust you. And now let's look and see what you do. Speeding forward a tiny bit. You break them everywhere. That was just I can't tell you how much I dislike this move right here. The white player was saying they will let you hold North America. You were getting so many troops. You would have been able to get more troops than the red player and the purple player. You would have gained a significant advantage over them. The game could have stabilized over a couple of turns, and you could have become one of the stronger players on this board. Instead, you're squandering the advantage. If I were the white player, I would immediately hit you and break you everywhere. Your 60 troops are stuck in Alaska. What can they do to retaliate against you? You could have left maybe some troops in western eastern United States to discourage an attack. But at this point, the white player has no reason to want to be your friend. You clearly only attack them. And as the game enters a 3 or 2 player situation, you would very likely be the player suicided on or are teamed up against because you haven't made friends with anyone at this time. So yeah, as the game continues, we now get to white player's turn right here. Again, they attacked. They lost 7 on this. Now look. Now the game gets a little interesting at the very end right here, where the purple player just suicides on like the red player. Looks like they just got like a little bit bored at the end right here. What can you do? But I think the messages of this game, like I kind of show, like the key themes. Like there are elements of true random, and even though there's higher risks when attacking, a lot of the principles and risks like still stay the same. But at this point, the white player is just going to be able to clean up everything around the board with no issues whatsoever. There's not really like much else to say right here yet. They're just attacking everywhere, taking out the players, cleaned up, got a lot of troops. They're doubling you right now. They have a massive stack. All they need to do is break you everywhere around the board, which they are doing like right here. And there's not much it could have done like with the suicide that happened at the end. You can't anticipate like those type of situations like occurring, but but there were a lot of things that you could have done to try to prevent like the situation from getting to like where it was at. Yes, now you trade in, you attack, but it doesn't really matter like that much at this point. Like yeah, you're single dice rolling to just move 1 dice over. Just so you know, by the way, instead of just using the single dice right here, I'll just because you're single dice rolling, one little thing that you could be doing in the end game right here, I'll just put the troops right here. Because if you notice, a lot of times people, when they manual roll, they're doing it because they get the highest rolled dice chance possible. But remember, it's true random. It's 42%. If I were to go to the slider, right, the calculator right here, whoops, sorry, 1 to 1, whoops, 2 to 1, yeah, it's 42% right here, as we can see. So the odds are the same whether you use balanced blitz or you are using the manual dice. So in true random, instead of slow rolling your dice one at a time to only move 1 dice back and forth, because what you should be doing instead, blitz right away. And now look, I can just move 1 dice here. You see this, everyone? I watch. I could slow roll 1 dice at a time and wait to win, just fortify 1 dice, or I can just blitz instead. I can do the same thing with 2 troops, as you can see right here. Now it's just 2. So in true random games, the best thing that you can be doing, instead of just slow rolling, just blitz like this. Eventually you'll be successful, and then you can just fortify 1 dice here. Little tip for you. In this case, it doesn't really matter in the end game because you're so far behind. Look, you have like 60 troops. Nothing much you can do. So as we just cleaned up the game right here, we can see at this point there's just nothing much you can do. The white player just demolishing you like in the troop count. It doesn't really even matter if they don't hit your 21 stack at this time or attack slowly. With this type of significant troop lead, there's just like nothing that you can do. And the white player is just going to dominate and take over the game like as they see. But that's a wrap, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed this Tutor Tuesday video and you learned a couple of good techniques about true random, the importance of trying to maintain alliances, and considering what happens in the 3-player endgame scenario and how your prior actions affects what happens in the endgame. And then finally, when to be making attacks as a strong player versus when you're like a weak player is like a significant. If you let me know what you thought of this video, like right here, and if you have any tips or suggestions about like how I can improve, and if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing. I do a Tutor Tuesday every single Tuesday on this channel, and reach out to me if you're interested in doing an episode. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. This is OliveXC signing out.